Hello and welcome back to my kitchen renovation project. Today we are going to be painting the base of the island that's behind me. My husband made it, and he made it specifically for the kitchen, but we've just put off getting the base painted because honestly it looks pretty good without paint on it. But today he's going to be painting it with chalk paint, so I thought that I would film the whole process because it's really easy. We have many pieces of furniture in our house that have been painted using chalk paint and wax, so I figured it would be a good time to show you how it's done. Okay, so here is the base that's going to be painted, and it's actually going to be painted this blue color that these slats are already painted, and they have some dark wax already on them as well. So we're going to be using Annie Sloan's chalk paint in Louis Blue, and it takes 2 coats of paint. The coats dry really quickly in between coats. If you start early enough in the day, this could be a project that is completely done in one. You don't have to sand anything before you get going, but you do need to make sure that it's clean. So Ryan is going to go ahead and get the first coat of paint on this, and after we have 2 coats done, we're going to put a thin layer of clear wax over it to seal, and then I'll show you how I use the dark wax just to distress things a little bit. We actually used the dark wax over here to paint our cabinets, and I'm really happy with the way that all turned out. Okay, Ryan has finished both coats, and you can see it's a real pale blue. It's almost like a baby blue, which is, that's right, it's called Louis Blue, which is why I will be using the dark wax on it. But Ryan actually got close to the end of the paint can when he was doing the second coat, and it didn't look like he was going to have enough, so he added some extra water to the can, or not extra water, but he added some water to it and to finish it off. This paint is so forgiving, which is why I love using it so much. Okay, it is time for me to put the dark wax on. Ryan went ahead and did both coats of the Louis Blue, and he also put 2 coats of the clear wax on already. So now it's my turn to come in and do the dark wax and make it look distressed. Let me show you what he used for the clear wax real quick first. So this is the clear wax that he used, and it's called Annie Sloan chalk paint wax. And so you just use, we use a brush to put it on. You could also use a cloth, but we bought 2 of these brushes when we first started out, one for dark, one for clear. And so you just dip your brush in, and then you just kind of buff it in like this. I'm not going to do it because this is the dark wax brush, but that's how it goes. You just buff it in, and so it gives it a nice protective layer. So you do that 2 times. You don't have to wait in between times. And now I'm going to go ahead and start using the dark wax, which is this. So when we first started doing chalk paint, the only things that they had were the clear wax and this dark wax. Now they have a dark wax, a black wax, and a white wax that you can use for different types of looks. But the dark is the one that I've always used, and this is the only container we've ever bought. It's, you can't really see, but it's about halfway empty at this point, and we've used it on many pieces of furniture. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you how I do this. So I just start with a little bit on the brush, and the way that I like to do it is on the corners. So I'm going to start applying the wax on the corner like this on both sides, and then I'm going to kind of push it towards the middle. And I want this to be real light. Like, I do not want this to get super dark at all. So if you can see right there, I hit this corner right here a little bit harder, which makes it look natural. So that's a nice dark corner there. You really can't tell on camera, but you want to hit the pieces where they would naturally have the aging and the distressing, which is on the corners. And see, I'm just holding this as well as I can, and you really just have to push and kind of buff it in. So now I'm going to get a little bit more wax on my brush to do the other corner. It's better to have too little on than too much. Because you can always add more. But you can also lighten it up a bit if you need to with clear wax. Okay, so I was able to get a little bit more on this side, so I'm going to come back and add just a little more over here so that it's all even, and now I'm going to start buffing it in. And hit these, I like to hit the corners a little bit extra, make them a little bit darker. And then let me do this over here. And then while I'm over here, I'm gonna go ahead and do this edge until I run out of wax, and then I'm gonna keep going down the leg. These are the supports that are under the butcher block. We'll take those off once we're all done. And I'm just gonna buff this in. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep going down this side of the leg, and then once I get to the bottom, then I'll come over on this side and just go all the way around. I will show you once I get this full leg done what it looks like. Okay, the distressing is all done now, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. The light isn't the best for seeing it, but there we go. That looks good. Super happy with how it looks, especially because of how well it coordinates with the oven. It's that beautiful blue color. So now I'm going to show you a couple of other pieces that I've chalk painted throughout the years in the house, and I'll let you know what colors we used for those also. Okay, this is the first piece that I ever chalk painted, and I definitely made some mistakes on it, but that's okay. This was a solid oak piece of furniture, and it was just not a really beautiful color of wood at all. The stain that was on it was just really not great. But we painted it with Annie Sloan's color Provence, and then I used the dark wax on it. And even though I would have used the dark wax differently, paying more attention to where natural aging would occur, I am still so happy with this piece. It really is just beautiful, and the paint job has held up marvelously. And I just really think that the dark wax is perfect when you have kids. If you can see, there's a mark there, scuff marks there, and there's actually a little bit of crayon there, but you really can't even see it unless you just are really looking closely. And when you have children or lots of children, that is a huge bonus. Like I said, this was the first piece. I learned a lot from it. And this is another project that we did. I bought 2 sets of lockers off of Craigslist. We're a homeschool family, so we need extra storage space for books and things. And you know, they were an industrial color that wasn't very pretty. So I'll have to look up the exact color, but this is the darker color of chalk paint, Annie Sloan again. And
we, you know, it's metal, right? So there's some, this was painted probably 6 years ago. We have some definite places where the paint has come off from use and some places where the kids have scratched it off like that. But by and large, these lockers still look amazing, especially considering how long ago that was. We didn't do anything to prep the lockers whatsoever. We just painted them 2 coats and then waxed 2 coats with clear wax. So that's one of the things that I really love about chalk paint. So if you're thinking about chalk paint, I would definitely give it a shot. It's really the most forgiving paint that you can use. You don't have to sand, you don't have to prep it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just works really, really well for my particular personality, not being a perfectionist, and it also holds up really nicely, especially if you use the dark wax. You know, like I said, it's just been so good for us. Let me show you my kitchen cabinets one more time. Okay, so these are the kitchen cabinets, and we've had them now, we've been using them for 3 months, which of course is not super long, but I love them so much more than when we had our white cabinets before. Those were just the pits. The paint is holding up really nicely, and even when I spill something, it's not like immediately apparent. I actually have to go around about once a week and look for places to wipe off because it's just not, it doesn't jump out at you like it did when I had white. So I'm super, super happy with our choice of the chalk paint and the dark wax in the kitchen. So if you have any questions about chalk paint, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you're interested in me doing more videos about techniques or anything like that, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do some extra videos on this subject. You know, it's not something that I do all the time, but when I get a new piece of furniture and I need to make it look like it belongs here, it's the first thing I grab. Thanks for joining me today. Please make sure to subscribe and like this video. I'll see you next time. Bye.